Hello, Awesome Soul here, and oh my god, we finally, after so long, might have proper wheels. And might I add, for the very first time, I might actually make my first cruiser in 3 years. Yes, it really has been that long since I've ever made a wheel bot of my own. This, of course, was all detailed in the Dev Jam number 9, written by Mark Simons, all about the new viable wheels. And of course, when he says viable, I'm sure you know that the current version of the wheels are near garbage, really only good for fun in custom games. But no longer will that only be the case. You will still be able to have fun in custom games, but now you will be able to drive around in your death machine, and that death machine is packing wheels. So I'm gonna try and keep this somewhat quick, so I'll be skimming through this article. If you would like to read it, link is below. But there are a few other tweets that I do need to go through that detail some fairly interesting information. So starting off, we have new sizes and art. What's this? Yes, we actually were hinted at this a little while back. I believe it was on the Robo stream, or one of the Robo streams they did. They said that Hannah, one of the people on the art team, is actually working on new models. And we now know what those new models are. Not only are they getting a fancy new paint job and remodel, but they're also getting a rescaling. So the larger wheels below the Megabot size are actually going to be substantially larger. And from what we can see in this picture here, the smallest size seems to be the same. And it was confirmed later on by Mark in a tweet that the Megabot size wheels are exactly the same size. But now the Epic wheels, Epic quality wheels, are now a little bit smaller than the Megabot size wheels. No longer are they all pretty much the same size, and then we automatically jump up to a huge, massive size. It seems to be going to be a gradual leap up. And from what it seems like in the article, it is also a gradual step up in CPU, and therefore a lot tankier as well. Now, due to the size rescaling and the CPU usage rescaling, every wheel on a bot will be removed in the update. And this update, by the way, is going to be next week, so next Thursday. So yes, all the wheel parts will be removed and returned to your inventory. And from there, you can then modify the chassis of your bot and stick the wheels back on. It's fairly simple. So, as you can tell by these new sizes, there are going to be pros and cons to using each size, and I really like the direction they've taken this. So the smallest ones are very, very easy to hide inside a lot of armor, whereas the larger you go up, the harder it is to hide them inside. But they will be more heavily armored. And not only that, they will be a lot faster. They say here that when you go up in size, they go up by quite a bit. They get faster, much faster. At least that's what they say here. So hopefully what it is going to be like is probably a 5 or 10 km/h jump per size. That's what I'm sort of hoping for. Because what we kind of have at the moment with all the other parts, a very, very minor speed increase. It's usually just 1 km/h per size. It's barely noticeable. So it's going to be pretty cool to see which wheel sort of comes out on top. Are they fairly balanced, or is one definitely better than the rest? And speaking of speed, this was actually alluded to in a tweet that I covered a few videos back. And this was on the topic of just how fast are these wheels going to be. And it says here, we're still balancing, but we've had the mega wheels driving at over 300 miles per hour. Now they don't say how they've achieved that. Most likely they've been using thrusters or propellers to achieve that speed. But the base speed is probably going to be pretty damn fast if that's the speed they're achieving with thrusters. And that's not just in a straight line either. Going around corners and over bumpy terrain will still have you going at around 300 miles per hour. And the best part, you do not randomly spin out or flip, and you maintain full control while doing both of those things. And I know what you're saying to yourself. Wow, this sounds completely amazing. I cannot wait to try them out. But the good news does not stop there, because we are also getting camera controls with wheels. So now you can drive them much like your take tracks. And they say here they work surprisingly well with the new camera control method. Of course, you can use either control method you want. Camera controls or keyboard controls, the choice is still yours. And they want to make sure that they have not forgotten about the other movement parts. Mark writes, all other movement parts will be getting some balance changes, including some movement speed increases with the aim of making them all viable. Aerofoils are already in the workshop for a revamp, also with the aim of making real airplanes totally viable as well. And they will be giving more details on the actual speed you can expect to see in the full patch notes coming next week. So keep your eyes out for that, or keep them on this channel, because of course I will be covering them. As stated at the beginning of the video, I also have some tweets to cover. And the first one is a very badass piece of concept art that Rick is using as sort of a base in his mind for what he kind of wants the mech arms to be. Of course, this does not confirm that they are in the game or they are coming soon. All this shows is that Rick is interested in mech arms. But what his idea for them are basically boxing glove type arms. So presumably these are going to have some sort of high knockback. But as I'm sure you're aware, most of the physics in the game are a little bit wonky, and even FreeJam has addressed this on multiple occasions. So some kind of knockback weapon probably won't be in the future, at least the close future. But hopefully we will actually see mech arms in the game at some point. Some other things that Rick would like to see in the game are googly eyes, the aforementioned boxing gloves on the mech arms, as well as lightsabers. So perhaps we could see a lightsaber blade being able to fit into a mech arm, or maybe two varieties of mech arms, one boxing glove and one lightsaber. And that will do it for today's episode, but I would like to know everybody's thoughts on the wheels. More specifically, what type of wheel will you be using on your bot? I know we don't have the stats for them, but at the very least we know what they look like. So I guess which one do you think would look coolest on a bot? Or do you have a few favorites, or do you just like all of them overall? Of course, let me know down below. Anyways, with that guys, I of course have been the Awesome Soul. I thank you so very much for watching, and I will see you next time. Take care.